All right, that concludes our public comment section of our meeting. And we will...
I just want to let people know that there's a white VW outside. Their lights are on. The ones that home tonight, they will want to check that out. Sorry to interrupt.
V.
Okay. The lights are on. Okay. We're going to start with comments from the council members. Councilwoman Brumell, do you have any comments tonight?
Yes. I just wanted to point out with the old Elk Neck Bridge, as I've said before, I did support the replacement of the bridge for $800,000, not the overhaul infrastructure and widening the road, which I believe was up to $4 million. We have to concentrate our funding, capital project investment in our priority funding area. Regarding the wastewater treatment plant, the experts, the research was not done. The MDR, it shocked to hear that it was a staff decision. And I did go to the experts. There was 3 to 4 experts I consulted. They confirmed my concerns. And throughout the process, we discovered a number of places where we were not informed of what was going on. And the most basic one was not learning until much later that we were not required to do a $60 million project, but an ENR upgrade, which was $10.9 million, which was fully funded by the Flush Tax Grant. Regarding prayer, I don't know how many people have seen the Cecil Wigg article. There was a number of comments. I have to say over 90% were positive on Facebook, on Cecil Wigg's Facebook, and I believe there was over 200 likes. Yes, we do have to be mindful about not praying to a specific God, but it's just one of those things where it's another right, another constitutional right that we need to practice or we're going to lose. It can't hurt to have prayer. I think there are positive, very positive, unifying elements. You know, we do have to proceed with, we have to have guidelines to go by, but the more we use them, the more we're going to feel comfortable with that. Just wanted to bring to mind also with the, I've been in contact with Congressman Harris's office pursuing, it was a month or 2 ago that we had a meeting with Congressman Harris and had a number of legislative requests. One of them was his pursuing support for the HIDA funding, high intensity drug trafficking area. Tom Carr is director of the Washington-Baltimore HIDA region. He fully supports us being a part of this program, which would utilize, we would be able to have access to additional resources to fight drug trafficking in this area. I guess that's pretty much it for now. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bowlesby.
I was hoping that Dr. Devine and some of the more of the school system people would stay, because last Thursday I was invited to go to Gilpin Manor Elementary for Career Day to talk about my job as council person. Now, to 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, that's a very boring subject in my mind. So I was racking my brain to think of what I was going to do, and we actually conducted a council meeting. And I want to tell you that I had more fun than I've had since I've been a councilwoman doing my job. The kids were absolutely wonderful. They were responsive, they had good thought process, and we had a great morning. And the school was to be commended for the way they reacted. They were great. And also for the Arts Council, I attended their art exhibit this month. In the whole month of May, Upper Bay Counseling is having Expressions of Healing, and there, which is done by the artwork, the poetry, the sculpturing, jewelry making is all done by clients of Upper Bay Counseling. And if you have a chance, just stop in. And I strongly suggest that you read the poetry because it's extremely moving. Thank you.
Councilman Carter?
Very briefly, I'd like to thank you fellows and folks for the support you've given me on this opposition to second rights. The Maryland Safety Firearms Act of 2013. This has been very difficult, but I think we have good legislation which will basically express our opinions quite well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to the audience members that have been able to stick with it. All of the audience, without exception, was very respectful and civil, and we had a discussion, pros, cons, support and not support. But everyone behaved very well, and I want to thank everyone for doing so. And we have a lot more business to do. I hope we'll get to your particular business that's on our agenda. We're in it till we get finished. But thank you for sticking by. All right, the next item on our agenda is the introduction of a bill. This is bill number 2013-04. This is an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Would the council manager please read into the record the short title of this bill, please?
Bill number 2013-04, amendment to the zoning ordinance floodplain district 8. An act to amend the Cecil County zoning ordinance, Article 11, Part 3, floodplain district, introduced and order posted on May 7th, 2013. Public hearing scheduled on June 4th, 2013 at 7 p.m.
Okay, Mr. Centrum, if you're still awake, can you give us your thoughts on this?
Yes, sir. Mr. Wyman had to pinch me, but I believe I am awake. The county in 2011, when it adopted its current zoning ordinance, adopted the state model floodplain regulations. The reason we did that is because in order for the citizens of Cecil County who reside either in a tidal or non-tidal floodplain to avail themselves of federal flood insurance, the local jurisdiction has to have a floodplain ordinance within its zoning ordinance. Subsequent to that adoption, the state has made revisions to the model ordinance and has advised us that we need to change and amend the language that was adopted 2 years ago. Consequently, the amendment that is before you this evening reflects the changes that the state has suggested to us in order to keep us consistent with the state's model ordinance. This amendment has been before the Planning Commission at their April 15th meeting. The Planning Commission has recommended approval to the council of the language proposed before you this evening.
Thank you. Do any of the council members have any questions or comments regarding this proposed bill? Okay. Then we will vote on this. When, Mr. Massey?
The public hearing will be on June 4th, and then we would be looking at consideration tentatively on June 18th.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next item is introduction of resolutions. The first one being introduction of resolution number 37-2013. This is an appointment to the redistricting commission. Mr. Massey, would you read this resolution into the record, please?
Yes, resolution 37-2013, appointment redistricting commission. A resolution to appoint C. Ewing McDowell as chair of the redistricting commission for 2013. Introduced by Council President Hodge. Introduced and order posted May 7, 2013. Scheduled for consideration on May 21st, 2013.
Thank you. This is a resolution on behalf of the council to appoint a member and chairman to the redistricting commission that will be redistricting the council districts based on the census that was occurred in 2010. Are there any questions or comments from the council members? Okay, that this is also considered for consideration on May 21st. The next resolution is resolution number 39-2013. This is a request by a council member to maintain control of the video lottery terminal grant funding program. Would Mr. Massey please read this into the record?
Resolution number 39-2013, Video Lottery Terminal, VLT, Local Community Grant Program. A resolution to request that the VLT Local Community Grant Program continue to be administered through the County Council office, and the County Council shall continue to provide oversight for the Community Grant Program in conjunction with the appointed Grant Review Committee and County Executive. Introduced by Councilwoman Diana Brumel, introduced and order posted on May 7, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on May 21st, 2013.
Councilwoman Brumel, would you like to explain the purpose of the proposed resolution?
Yes, if it was having oversight, with the county executive, there would be no, checks and balances, no transparency, if there were, concerns about how the money was being allocated. And I know that as a board of commissioners, while we did take a number of the recommendations from the VLT advisory board, there were a number of changes that we did make. And I recognize that, there would also be a process for the county executive to weigh in as well. So, because we have regularly scheduled meetings, because we, listen to the public when they come in for public comment, I just think this would be a more transparent and, provide more checks and balances in this process.
Do any of the council members have any questions or comments at this time? Hearing none, we will consider this for passage on May 21st, 2013. Resolution number 40, 2013, the Second Amendment preservation. It was supposed to be introduced by Councilman Dunn, who's not here. So, and there's some other new developments. Mr. Massey, can you fill the council on this?
We had gotten, Ms. Brumel had gotten some information about the update that Delegate Rothschild, or Commissioner Rothschild, had made in reviewing, and so I think Councilman Dunn will want to look at the new information and possibly amend his resolution to that effect.
Okay, so we're going to postpone the introduction of this resolution. This resolution is not the same as Councilman McCarthy's resolution, which is further on down the agenda for our consideration tonight. So we're going to allow Mr. Dunn to review his proposed resolution and bring it back to our attention at a later date. Resolution number 41-2013, this is an agreement between the county and Old Dominion Electric Cooperative and Essential Power Rock Springs LLC regarding a pilot program payment in lieu of taxes. Mr. Massey, would you read this resolution into the record, please?
Resolution number 41-2013, agreement, First Amendment to agreement for payment in lieu of taxes, pilot, with Old Dominion Electric Cooperative, ODEC, and Essential Power Rock Springs LLC. A resolution to approve an amendment to that certain pilot agreement dated April 2nd, 2002, by and between the Cecil County, Maryland, a body corporate politic, formerly the Board of County Commissioners of Cecil County, and the Old Dominion Electric Cooperative and Essential Power Rock Springs LLC, successors in interest to Rock Springs Generation, LLC and Outwater Funding Limited Partnership, the original signatories, extending the term of the pilot and modifying the payment schedule and payment amounts in the event that ODEC proceeds with construction of a combined cycle project at the facility, the expansion. Introduced by the council president on behalf of the county executive, introduced in order posted on May 7, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on May 21st, 2013.
This resolution was brought to our attention this morning at our work session. We had the opportunity to talk to representatives of Old Dominion Electric. Are there any additional questions from the council or comments tonight?
No, just that there will be public hearings, or public meetings, to address the public in this area with any questions they might have.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, this will be on our agenda on May 21st for consideration. The next item is a consideration where we're going to make a decision on resolution number 35-2013 regarding an appointment to the Animal Care and Control Oversight Committee. Mr. Massey, would you read the short title?
Resolution number 35-2013, Appointment Animal Care and Control Oversight Committee. A resolution to confirm the appointment by the county executive of Laura Hudson to the Cecil County Animal Care and Control Oversight Committee, introduced by the council president on behalf of the county executive, introduced and order posted on April 16, 2013, and scheduled for consideration May 7, 2013.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Wine, do you have any comments on this? No. Okay. This resolution appoints a member to the Animal Care and Control Authority that replaces someone else that moved out of the county. So, this was previously introduced. Are there any questions or comments about this appointment?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I attended the first Animal Control Oversight Board meeting, and Laura Hudson actually was a representative for the large animal, the only one appointed to the board, so it was a good appointment to have a large animal representative.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Laura Hudson to the Animal Care and Control Oversight Committee.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. There's been a motion and a second to approve resolution 35-2013 by Dinah Broom, a second by Robert Hodge. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, I might ask, did she not receive considerable county money for her horse rescue operation approximately 1 year ago?
I actually voted in opposition to that at the time because I thought it was a slippery slope to where other rescues were not funded, and this one was. But what happened was we had the interim care and control plan in effect, and that decision to fund her was made even before we were told about it. Once again, Laura Hudson, maybe I wasn't clear, she had shared information with our animal care and control officer about issues with large animals, that she could share workshops and things like that, to where our control officer would have more training, and the other officer that's in training as well. I think she's an invaluable addition. She offered very good conversation and insight. I'd say I was very impressed with the positive exchange across the table with all of the participants.
Okay, as a county commissioner, I voted to support her request to take care of these animals. It was a very unique situation. And it was a very unusual time in Cecil County because our Animal Care and Control Authority had resigned and had quit performing any animal care control work, and we had a very temporary animal control officer that was assisting us on a temporary arrangement, who, in my opinion, had actually arranged these animals to be put into safekeeping and kind of made a commitment to this group that we would help her out. And it was a very large group of horses that was going to cost someone a lot of money through no fault of their own. I'm glad that somebody was willing to step up and take care of these abused and neglected animals. So I certainly don't hold it against them or her for taking on this responsibility and taking care of this problem that the county had. So at the end of the day, I feel that she would be a good addition to the Animal Care and Control Oversight Committee.
I'm not, questioning her qualifications to take care of animals, but she is on the oversight committee, which is to oversee the operation of the Animal Control Authority. And I don't know that she would have the objectivity to do this, having been recipient of fairly large sums of county money.
All right, is there any other discussion? Is there any other discussion? Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the resolution. All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Joyce, did I
I
hear you?
said aye.
You said aye?
Yes, I did.
Okay, the motion passes 3-1. Okay, the next resolution for consideration is an appointment to the Historic District Commission. Would the council manager please read the short title?
Resolution number 36-2013, Appointments, Historic District Commission. A resolution to confirm the appointment by the county executive of Michael W. Dawson and the reappointment by the county executive of Milt Diggins to the Cecil County Historic District Commission, introduced by the council president on behalf of the county executive, introduced in order posted on April 16, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on May 7, 2013.
Mr. Wine, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay, council members, you have before you a resolution for an appointment on the Historic District Commission. Is there any questions or comments?
I was wondering, Milt Dickens, how much experience does he have on historic structures, or does he have a background?
Yeah, I know he's the author of at least one Cecil County history publication. He was a history teacher in the school system as well. He's retired now, and he is active with the Cecil County Historical Society.
I thought I'd seen some articles that he had done on his historic things. Michael Dawson, W. Dawson, what are his credentials? Usually we ask for the supporting resumes.
I think Mr. Brinkman has his resume at the end of the table.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I mean, okay. On this. I don't see anything on his door.
All right, may I have a motion to approve?
Can we vote on them separately?
There's one resolution, we either have to make an amendment to the resolution. We can make an amendment to the resolution, or we have to vote all or amendment.
Okay, go ahead and vote for the amendment.
Make a motion to offer. If you want to amend it, if you want to vote for one, No,
I didn't realize I could do
You have
that
to make
now.
an amendment to the
Okay.
you have to make an amendment to the an amendment to the resolution.
Okay, I'd like to make an amendment to the resolution that we vote on.
No, you have to eliminate one of the names.
Okay, I propose that we eliminate Michael W. Dawson. I do support Mr. Diggins for reappointment to the Historic Commission.
Okay, there's been a motion, to amend the resolution to remove Michael W. Dawson as an appointee to the Historic District Oversight Committee, or Commission. Is there a second? Okay, the motion fails, due to lack of a second. So we're back to, the request for the original motion to approve the resolution.
I move that we approve the resolution as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve resolution number 36-2013 by Councilman McCarthy and a second by Councilwoman Bowlesby. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion, please signal by saying aye. Aye. All those that are not in favor, please say no.
No.
Okay, the motion passes 3-1. Mr. Maskin, I screwed up here because I didn't ask for roll call.
Yeah, he's taking roll call.
Okay, is that sufficient? You have the names?
Yes, I have that.
I'm sorry.
Should be doing roll
I'm sorry, you should have yelled at me.
Not this hour.
Okay, the last resolution for consideration tonight is resolution number 38-2013. This is a resolution in opposition to the Maryland Firearms Safety Act, introduced on 4/16 by Councilman McCarthy. Mr. Massey, would you please read your title?
Resolution number 38-2013, Opposition Maryland Firearms Safety Act. A resolution stating the council's opposition to the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013, introduced by Council Vice President Alan McCarthy, introduced in order posted April 16, 2013, and scheduled for consideration on May 7, 2013.
Thank you. I'd like to offer 2 amendments to this resolution. And I've passed out in writing these 2 resolutions. One of them, well, for the purpose of the public, Mr. Massey, do you have a copy of the amendments?
Here's one.
The ones you're introducing?
Yes.
Yeah, right here.
Would you just read them to the public, please?
Sure. Amendment to Resolution 38-2013. Amendment number 2. On page 1, line 10, insert the following. Whereas the County Council believes that the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013 is unconstitutional, and the council should continue to analyze additional actions to take to protect the rights of the citizens of Cecil County to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment. On page 1, line 15, insert the following. Be it further resolved that the County Council recommends that no Cecil County government funds, resources, employees, agencies, contractors, buildings, detention center, or offices may be used for the purpose of enforcing any restrictions or regulations that inhibit, reduce, or impinge what we believe are our law-abiding citizens' Second Amendment rights.
I've offered up these additions. I know that previously, the first item is that we know that there's probably more that we can do other than this resolution, and I don't want our consideration of this subject matter to stop after we pass, what I believe pass this resolution tonight. I think that there may be other activities and other actions that we should consider in the future. Just because we say we passed the resolution doesn't mean that our work is done. The second part of this is, I know that Mr. McCarthy had put this in his original version. I know that we've gotten some legal advice from our county attorney that he did not recommend that we proceed with this second paragraph regarding recommending. And what I'm doing is saying recommending that no funds or other resources be expended. And so I'm encouraging, and I'll make a motion to amend Mr. McCarthy's his resolution to include these two paragraphs. So I'm making a motion to include these two paragraphs as read into the record by the county manager. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there any discussion on the amendments?
Isn't that similar to what, Councilman Dunn had?
Yes, it is. It is. And for the record, I think that there are provisions in Mr. Dunn's proposed resolution that we should seriously consider at a later date. So we're not ignoring Mr. Dunn's proposal, but since he's not here to talk for it, and we have reason to believe that there's some tweaks that need to be made, we will be considering additional efforts. And when I say that we should consider additional steps, this may be Mr. Dunn's proposed language should be considered also to be added later. All right, so we have a motion and a second to make an amendment to Mr. McCarthy's resolution number 38-2013. All those in favor of the amendments, would you signal by saying aye?
Aye.
And so that motion, I made a mistake again, I'm sorry. Do we want to do a roll call or not?
Did you hear who said aye? Did we all say aye?
Everyone, it was unanimous.
It was in our charter,
You know,
we have to do
I know,
roll
I'm
call.
sorry.
Mr. President, I would like to have Mr. Massey read the entire proposal, resolution into the record if possible.
I think it's too difficult to understand now that we've made the amendments.
We got all kinds of amendments.
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, that's right.
I think it's
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Mr. Massey anticipated that we would do something here, so he has a completely revised version with the amendments.
These, the new amendments in?
The two new amendments.
Redacted.
The amendments of the amendments.
He's one step ahead.
Just two.
Just for the record, I know that
Well, there were amendments before.
some of these amendments were just typed up and prepared. The ink was still fresh at 5:30, and Mr. Massey really helped out to get this done. I know that there was a lot of phone calls and other activities, so we're really just getting this done at the last minute. But Mr. Massey, could you go ahead and read the entire resolution?
Resolution number 38-2013 as amended. Opposition Maryland Firearms Safety Act, a resolution stating the council's opposition to the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013, introduced by the council president, Vice President Alan McCarthy, introduced in order posted April 16th and scheduled for consideration May 7th, 2013. Whereas the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution was adopted in 1791 as part of the United States Bill of Rights. And whereas the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution protects the inalienable individual rights of the people to keep and bear arms. And whereas the Maryland General Assembly has enacted the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013, which bans the sale of 45 types of rifles and magazines in common use, and requires law-abiding citizens to submit to licensing fees, background checks, fingerprinting, safety training, and renewal fees. And whereas the County Council believes that the Maryland Firearms Act of 2013 is unconstitutional, and the county should continue to analyze additional actions to take to protect the rights of the citizens of Cecil County to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment. And whereas the Cecil County Council believes that the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013 violates the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. Whereas the undersigned council members took an oath to support and defend the United States Constitution. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the County Council of Cecil County, Maryland, believes that the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013 has been enacted in violation of the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution and is therefore invalid legislation. And be it further resolved that the County Council recommends that no Cecil County government funds, resources, employees, agencies, contractors, buildings, detention centers, or offices may be used for the purpose of enforcing any restriction of regulation that inhibit, reduce, or impinge what we believe are our law-abiding citizens' Second Amendment rights. And be it further resolved that the General Assembly's de jure usurpation of the finances of Cecil County government and therein its residents for the purpose of enforcing the Maryland Firearms Safety Act of 2013 is founded upon unlawful legislation and is therefore ultra vires. And be it further resolved that the County Council of Cecil County believes that any and all legislation relative to the following is in violation of the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution and therefore ultra vires. Registration requirements of existing lawfully owned weapons except those that are fully automatic. 2. Prohibitions, regulations, and or incremental use, storage, and transportation restrictions related to non-fully automatic weapons that have appearance characteristics similar to fully automatic weapons and or assault weapons. 3. Prohibitions limiting magazine capacity, clip capacity, internal capacity, or types of ammunition available for sale, possession, or use. And 4. Registration and background check requirements beyond those customary required at the time of purchase. Notwithstanding the above, this resolution is not intended to negate provisions of new gun laws that would A. prohibit the sale or possession of weapons by felons, B. prohibit the sale or possession of weapons by individuals with a history of a dangerous mental illness or who have been adjudicated mentally ill, and C. require reasonable safety training, provided training is readily available, timely, and reasonably affordable.
Okay. Members of the council, we have a bill before us that was introduced on April 16th. It's been amended several times. I'd like to have a motion to approve.
For approval of resolution 38-2013 as amended, opposition to the Maryland Firearms Safety Act.
Is there a second? There's been a motion to approve resolution number 38-2013 by Councilwoman Bowlesby and a second by Councilman McCarthy. Is there any further discussion? I'll ask for a vote to approve the motion. All those in favor, no. Mr. Maxey, would you call the roll?
Dr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Bowlesby?
Aye.
Ms. Brumell?
Aye.
President Hodge?
Aye. The motion passes 4-0. Therefore, the resolution is approved. Okay, in new business on our agenda tonight, it's been brought to our attention that the county should provide a letter of support for our transportation priorities. A letter of priorities has been submitted to the council for their support. It was introduced to us at a morning work session, and we had a discussion about it. Is there any further comments or questions about the priority transportation letter.
I'm in agreement with the, most of the majority of the, transportation priorities. What I've run into is a concern of the lack of notification for the, residents living in the area of 222, in letting them know where the project is. There just needs to be better communication, and there needs to be a public, meeting where the state highway or town of Perryville or the county, or all, are informing the public of where we're at and what plans, we're leaning towards going with. There's, 2 or 3 properties, that would have to be condemned, and the citizens in this area should have, proper notification, or at least know what their rights are in getting reimbursed for their property. Patterson's Funeral Home will be significantly impacted. And I only bring this up because I wouldn't have known about this project if I hadn't been elected and invited to go to this meeting. I never knew this project had moved along as far as it did. And I'm voicing concern from the residents in this area. So I had proposed that on page 2, under US 40 corridor and intersection improvements, item number 5, road improvements on Maryland 222, US 40, Maryland 275, in the interest of enhanced access and mobility and better congestion management, that it would also include with notification to the public in the area, just to show that would require this of state highway. The majority did not vote for that, so therefore I feel I have to state my opposition to this letter. But that is the only part of this letter that I'm in opposition to.
I was a little bit remiss. Does Mr. Wine or Mr. Centrum have anything to offer?
No, sir.
Nothing beyond what we talked about this morning?
That is correct.
Okay.
Mr. Hodge, I think for the public, because they're sitting out there wondering what we're talking about.
Thank
That maybe we should just quickly say that, it's redesigning, constructing a new Route 222 I-95 interchange to include an upgrade bridge over I-95, extend the Mark Penn Line commuter rail service from Perryville to Elkton, Newark, and Wilmington, improve 213 US 40 intersection with adequate bicycle and pedestrian accommodation, and implement an I-95 US 40 toll discount for Cecil County residents and especially businesses. Now, before you get real excited about this, we've been asking for these things for about 6 years, so, just so you know.
I know that Councilwoman Brumell has an issue about notification. I do believe that within the State Highway Department, there is plenty of citizen involvement and input when they come to design. Almost all transportation improvements require additional right-of-way, and I think it's unreasonable just to put in details of notification on one project when, quite frankly, all projects will probably require some right-of-way acquisition to make the improvements. It doesn't matter if it's Route 40 and 213 or whatever. Every transportation, even the rail access could require some easement access. So I understand your concerns, but I do believe that, as we discussed this morning, that we don't have to get into the weeds as far as all the devil in the details at this point in time. These are just a list of our priorities, and certainly by a separate letter, we can certainly let the state know that we definitely want them to inform us, as well as the property owners, as well in advance of any eminent domain or any other easement taken.
Well, can I respond to that?
Sure.
When I went to the public to let them know that this plan had moved along and that there were, I think there was 3 or 4 proposals, they were shocked by how much of the road frontage was being proposed and how much of their yards were being, would be taken away. And those were the, in concrete, design plans that were gonna be chosen from. The next step was the environmental study, and, just recently found out last year, was not on the list, but, Secretary, is it Griffin? Secretary of State Highway, what was his name?
There's an interim secretary.
Daryl Mobley.
Daryl Mobley,
is
okay.
acting.
He's acting, who was the one last year?
He was there last year, he's been in acting since, Secretary Swain Staley, resigned.
Okay, I can't remember which one it was, but, he came to the meeting, it wasn't on the list, and said, at the last minute, we found funding for the environmental study, and the next was to, decide which of those plans we were gonna go with, and it was gonna move very quickly after that, so, for those reasons, I think I'm, acting with caution, reasonable caution, to make sure that I can do what I can to get in there, that the public needs to be notified.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the letter of support for the Cecil County fiscal year 2014 transportation priority letter?
I move, to support that we send it.
Is there a second? Okay, there's been a motion by Councilwoman Bowlesby and a second by Councilman McCarthy to approve the fiscal year 2014 Cecil County Transportation Priority Letter. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Okay. Mr. Massey, would you call the roll?
We'll have the advisory thing done in the morning. So
Dr. McCarthy?
I'll put it in tonight.
Ms. Bowlesby?
Aye.
Ms. Brunel?
No.
President Hodge?
Aye. The vote is 3-1. The motion carries. The letter of support is approved. That's the end of our business tonight. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.